一番大好きだよ。一番
してる。本当に愛してるよ。
私も。
Recently, the previously popular Z Image released a new model specifically focused on anime style generation, Z Anime. At first glance, it honestly looks like just another regular anime image model, nothing particularly special. Especially now that GPT Image 2 has arrived, many open source models have already fallen far behind in overall performance. But if we focus purely on anime style generation, can Z Anime actually satisfy everyday needs? Can it generate different kinds of anime styles? And more importantly, is it truly a practical anime image model for local PC usage? After all, it's free, low VRAM, and extremely fast. So this time, I want to see whether it can actually be combined with other workflows on a local PC to create real anime videos. And later in the video, I'll also show a more advanced version, where the characters don't just move anymore, they start to have style, emotions, and even voice acting. Let's get started. Hello, welcome to Smart Vision. On this channel, I keep sharing the latest AI tutorials and practical tools. All workflows, materials, and resources from this video are on my Patreon and are available to download after you register. For supporters, I provide extra professional tools and deeper guides. If you like this content, consider subscribing and supporting the channel. Now let's get started. First, let's briefly introduce Z Anime. It's a model from the Z Image series that was specifically trained for anime style generation. The overall style leans much more toward Japanese anime aesthetics, including character design, line work, and coloring style, making it feel significantly more 2D anime compared to the original Z Image model. And the hardware requirements are actually pretty low. It can run on low VRAM setups, and the generation speed is also very fast. So its positioning is actually very clear. It's not trying to chase the most insane benchmark performance. Instead, it focuses on generating anime-style content quickly on a local PC with relatively low hardware cost. Using it is also very simple. You just need to download the latest version of Comfy UI, then open the Z Image template inside the Templates section. After that, go to Hugging Face and search for the Z Anime model. I'll also share the download links on my Patreon. Once downloaded, simply place the model into the Diffusion Models folder. Then press R inside Comfy UI, and the model should appear. Alright, next I'm going to test Z Anime's anime-style generation capabilities from several different angles. First is its ability to control different anime art styles. I don't know if you guys are anime fans, but I definitely am. Even though I love anime, I wouldn't say I deeply understand every art style. I only recognize some of the more common ones. But honestly, almost every manga artist has their own distinct visual style. For example, when people think about iconic anime aesthetics, Studio Ghibli's warm and cozy atmosphere usually comes to mind immediately. Alright, let's try that first. Next, let's test something more refined and cinematic, like the style of Fate Zero. Then, let's try the kind of almost photorealistic anime atmosphere you see in Makoto Shinkai films, which I personally really love. After that, let's test something darker and more oppressive, similar to Death Note. And finally, let's try the exaggerated and energetic style of One Piece. Haha, alright, what do you think? From the results, the overall style direction is definitely correct, and the recognizability is actually pretty decent. Of course, it's not a perfect one-to-one recreation. For example, the Ghibli-style result here feels slightly too realistic. Another pretty obvious thing I noticed is that if you simply write something like boy or girl together with a specific anime-style prompt, the model can easily generate characters that look extremely close to existing copyrighted characters. For example, wait a second, isn't that basically Lancer? Why are you suddenly wearing Saber's armor? So if you want original characters in a specific style, it's important to describe the character details more clearly. Otherwise, the model may automatically drift toward familiar anime characters. But don't worry too much. Later in the video, the advanced workflow will include a much more convenient automatic prompt generation system that helps reduce a lot of this manual work. Since we already talked about character design capability, let's test that next. This part is actually very important, because a good anime model isn't just about drawing pretty images, it also needs to design the character correctly. Here I generated 3 different characters, a cute style character, a cold, elegant character, and a cool battle style character. From the results, the model actually handles the character direction pretty well. Their personalities feel visually distinct, and you can immediately tell they're not the same type of character. So I'd say this part works quite well. Next is facial expressions and emotional performance. I think this part is extremely important too, because one of the most charming aspects of anime is how expressive the characters are. So here I tested 4 expressions: shy, angry, about to cry, and surprised. From the results, the emotional direction is generally correct, and the expressions communicate the intended feelings quite well. For normal anime content production, I think this is already very usable. Next is complex clothing and detail stability. This part is actually a serious test of a model's fundamentals. For this test, I used the following prompt. The overall detail control is actually pretty solid. The ribbons, clothing layers, fabric folds, and even the exact number of accessories remained fairly consistent without obvious breakdowns. At the very least, it didn't turn a normal school uniform into some kind of legendary MMORPG endgame armor set. So for everyday anime content production, I'd say it's already practical enough for most use cases. Finally, let's test multi-character scene generation. This part is especially important, because once there's more than one person in the image, things become much more complicated. Here I chose to generate an emotional staring scene between 2 characters. And honestly, the atmosphere came out surprisingly well. The characters don't just look like they're standing next to each other. There's actually some emotional tension between them. Especially the eye contact, positioning, and the rainy night atmosphere. It already starts to feel a little bit like a dramatic anime scene. So, what do you think? It definitely has that feel, right? For someone like me, a complete straight guy, I can already imagine an entire romance anime season from this one image. After generating the images, the next obvious step is turning them into videos. To maintain character consistency, I used Flux Klein together with LTX 2.3 to generate the anime videos. Let me briefly explain the workflow. The top section is the Z image generation module, which we already looked at earlier, so I won't spend too much time on it again. The middle section is the Flux Klein module. It can edit images based on reference images, such as combining multiple characters into a single scene. Technically, it supports multiple reference images, but based on my own testing on a local PC, the quality is usually most stable with only 2 to 3 characters. Beyond that, the quality starts dropping pretty quickly. So I strongly recommend keeping each scene to only 2 or 3 characters whenever possible. For multi-character scenes, you can follow this node connection setup here and simply add more nodes if needed. For the model itself, I'm using the Flux Klein 4B version. It requires less than 4 GB of VRAM, which makes it extremely practical. The bottom section is the LTX 2.3 module. First, you need to configure some basic settings like video resolution and model selection. And when using the workflow, remember to enable only one module at a time, otherwise everything will run simultaneously. Alright, those are basically the main things you need to know about the base workflow. Now let's generate a few examples and see how the results look. For the first example, I generated a male knight and a female archer walking through a medieval town while talking to each other.
The road ahead looks dangerous.
Good. That means we're going the right way.
You can see that the generated character visuals actually look pretty good, and the video itself generally follows the description correctly. Although sometimes the lip sync is slightly off, but honestly, I'll blame LTX 2.3 for that one. But if you want to take things one step further, where the anime video doesn't just exist, but actually starts to feel like characters are performing, then I also created a more advanced workflow. This advanced workflow builds on top of the base version by adding emotional voice generation, character voice control, and a much more complete anime-style generation pipeline. For example, I integrated Fish Audio S2. It's not just a normal TTS system, it can generate speech with emotional performance. Things like happiness, anger, sadness, nervousness, and even subtle emotional tones sound significantly more natural compared to standard AI voices.
鬼だ。俺はかもずいこの荷物をやり下げる。勘違いなく。
ちょっと待って待って
あんたなんか二度と私の目の前に蹴れないでくれ。
一番大好きだよ。一番
もうやめて。もう十分よ。
ない見てくださいなどこかいさらして
星もべ。ようつかりにはがおり。なしけよたんた。
してる本当に愛してるよ
私も
As a result, the characters no longer feel like they're simply moving their mouths, they actually begin to feel like anime characters acting in a scene. Besides that, I also added a much more convenient anime-style control workflow. Because honestly, the hardest part usually isn't generating the image itself, it's figuring out how to write the prompt. Anime styles vary a lot. Some lean toward Makoto Shinkai aesthetics, some toward classic shonen anime, and others toward darker psychological styles. Writing all of those prompts manually every time gets exhausting very quickly. So this advanced workflow also includes prompt enhancement functionality. You only need to provide a relatively simple idea, and the system will automatically expand it into a much more complete anime-style prompt, including atmosphere, character details, cinematic composition, and even emotional direction. The entire process feels much closer to a director workflow. Instead of constantly tweaking every little detail manually, you can focus more on the story and the visuals themselves. Of course, local models still have limitations in terms of accuracy, so this workflow is mainly designed to improve productivity and make the creative process more fun. Sometimes you may still need a few attempts to get the best result. Alright, that's it for this video. If you enjoy this kind of local AI, anime generation, and anime video workflow content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll be sharing the prompts and the base workflow used in this video on my Patreon. The base version will be available for free, and the advanced version will include more complete features such as emotional voice generation, automatic anime-style prompt generation, and prompt enhancement tools. So if you're interested in these advanced workflows, feel free to support the project. And I'll see you in the next video.